Welcome everybody to my next video where we try to understand and rate how good a martial art is. This time we're going to do BJJ. One of our last videos we already did Taekwondo, which is my martial art that I took originally. I have recently started in BJJ, so I think I can at least talk about it, even though I haven't even earned my first stripe in it or anything like that, because I only go as a drop-in like once or twice a month. So not very often. But discussing with everybody that I've discussed it with, I'm always chit-chatting about martial arts. And with the experience that I have and just the, I guess, foresight that I see in it, we're going to try to rate it. But I rate it on my own rating system in a sense that I want to know how practical, which is how much does my environment or the situation lend itself to this, this technique or the martial art, in this case, martial art. How applicable is it for me and my body type and condition, injuries and so on. And then how efficient is it? How quickly can I get the job done using said technique or martial art? So I have a video going back, a couple of videos back, that breaks down it in more detail. But I think if you guys want to just listen to what I had to say here, you'll probably catch on to what the category really looks like. So BJJ, really impressive martial art. First off, incredibly brainy. My brain might not have enough space to contain everything that's in BJJ and how to get from position to position and how to take, like how do they choke me out when I take them down? I don't get it. I don't get it. I get choked out all the time when I do the takedown. That's not fair. If you ask me, I don't appreciate it. I think that should be against the law. How can they choke me out on my takedown? Regardless, it's very, very, very impressive. Probably the most thought-intense martial art out there. Probably can't say that since I haven't taken a full range, but I've done boxing, kickboxing, Taekwondo. I've taken a little bit of karate, and all these being like literally a little bit. But Taekwondo, not proficient at, but a black belt in. So I know enough about Taekwondo. Regardless, it's very, very brainy and which is admirable. Which is going to come into play probably against it, maybe for it later on. But very impressive. I think when it's used properly, great. I think for women's self-defense, when because of predators and such, it probably will come into play a lot more being on the ground. And since that's kind of the position that some predators might want you in, sadly, don't like to say it, but it's true. That's why we take martial arts, so we can handle those types of situations. I think it does come into play a lot there. So I guess just going right into it, how practical is it? How much does my environment or the situation lend itself to these conditions or these techniques or martial art working? I think it comes into play more than BJJ guys like to think. When you're training, you're typically on a padded spring floor or at least a padded floor. Takedowns don't hurt hardly, besides maybe knocking the breath out of you and maybe rubbing your toe wrong. I mean, I've rubbed my toe raw a couple times and it's not pleasant, but I usually don't even know about it until the next day when it's healing up and all scabbed over. So, but when you take it out onto a wood floor or a concrete floor, it's a different animal. I mean, people get tore up all the time actually trying to train on concrete. I've seen guys do it on sand and they've got all rashed up and burned up. So, I mean, it does apply. Sand getting in your eyes, dirt getting in your eyes while you're rolling on the ground. You got to factor it in. I mean, these aren't the everyday condition, but these are the possible conditions. I mean, if you're on a beach and you're getting into a fight for some dumb reason, don't get into fight, kids. But if you get into a fight, sand's going to be in the equation. You got to think about it. Or if you're in the water, you know, if you're on the side of the beach where the water's lapping over. I mean, again, not the common situation, but you have to deal with water now and you're on the ground. Not great. I actually saw somebody, it might have been Sensei Seth, if I'm remembering right. Maybe not. I think it was Sensei Seth, though. They did a test when they did it in the water, and they weren't doing great because you can't breathe in water if you don't know that already. We're not superhuman. So that factors in. Again, not the everyday occurrence, but still factors in. What else? I mean, we have Kar-Jitsu now, but the reason there is Kar-Jitsu is because Jiu-Jitsu doesn't work as efficiently or hardly at all when you're in a car. That's why they actually train Kar-Jitsu to work with its specific environment. So that variance makes a big difference. It really does. Seen other people do it in moving vehicles, not like strapped into a front seat, but like a bus, or for instance, you might know what I'm referring to there, since it's pretty popular right now. But a moving bus changes up. People are winning the fight until the bus stops all of a sudden, and then it turns over. So environment does factor into jiu-jitsu a lot. And I think probably the most everyday occurrence that the problem arises is in the takedowns. You can get really banged up real quickly, getting taken down or taking someone else down. So I think in the practical side of things, it's all right, but not as good as people like to think. I think also in the practical side of things, how much does my situation lend itself to me using this technique? You got to consider, in this case, multiple attackers. If you have one attacker and you can get them down and you can choke them out, fine, it's over, right? But if you have two attackers, you really shouldn't even try to go to the ground. I mean, you really shouldn't, because the other guy can kick you out or just stomp you while you're trying to choke the other guy out. And if you're trying to block this guy from kicking you or punching you or hitting you with something else, stabbing you, shooting you, I mean, what have you? If you're trying to stop this guy who's standing and try to choke this guy out, you're probably not going to get this guy choked out. That's the reality of it. And that's probably everybody's biggest argument against jiu-jitsu, honestly, is the multiple attacker situation. I mean, it completely almost mitigates the training of BJJ if you get two attackers. And we've had people test it out. Well, can you take two attackers? They didn't do great. And can you sometimes? Yes. I'm not saying you never can. But even if it takes, I can't remember how long it takes to choke somebody out with, a normal blood vessel choke. But 10 seconds anyways. If it takes 10 seconds, there's a lot I can do to you in 10 seconds without being a martial artist. Like, just as a normal guy who's hanging out with his buddy and you're in a bar fight, right? Something like that. The guy can do a lot to you in 10 seconds. So that's probably one of the biggest negatives to BJJ. What's another one that, under the practical side of things, if you have multiple people that you're protecting, say you have your wife, and your kids, and somebody starts messing with your wife, you try to take him down, choke him out, what have you. If there's more than just one person that you're trying to take down, your wife and kids are still being messed with while you're trying to take this other guy down. Again, it's kind of a multiple attacker situation, but in the fact that you can't stop or protect your family necessarily if you're in the middle on the ground trying to take one dude out. So another negative to the BJJ. I think that's probably it for practical, other than, I guess, your clothes. Your clothes do make a difference. I mean, wearing steel-toe boots is not the same as crawling and rolling with bare feet. The way you can move your feet and grab underneath the legs, if you guys know how you hook the legs so you can kind of control the hips and stuff like that. If you have no mobility in your feet, you're going to lose a lot of options, I guess. And any other clothes. If you can't move your shoulders because your clothes are too tight, can't move your legs because your pants are too tight, rolling is a spider art. And if you can't be a spider, you lose a lot of your practicality. So something to keep in mind. Some of the big negatives to BJJ. So moving into how applicable is it, which again refers to like how does it suit my body type, my body condition. I think it doesn't require a lot, honestly. Now, when you roll, you're obviously using a lot of cardio. Any martial art that you take and you're spending an hour doing, you're going to be fatigued, muscle soreness, cardio tired. But when I'm referring to this, I'm thinking in a street fight, how much does my condition matter to the fight? I don't think you need to be super cardio strong to be BJJ. I don't think you need to be very flexible. I think flexibility definitely helps. It's actually kind of funny because I'm a Taekwondo base or background. I'm relatively flexible. Like I can still do splits pretty well and kick over my head. So we were actually trying to do a takedown technique where basically you grab the person's leg if they try to do like if you have their single leg and they're not giving it to you, you just can't get them to drop. You basically just take the leg and you lift it up. Well, the guy was doing that to me in training, and my leg was just sitting up here, and he couldn't do anything about it other than just drive forward, of course. But most guys, you get them up this high, and since their legs can't spread anymore, their whole body just automatically falls backwards. So my flexibility really saved me in that situation, and both me and the guy was just laughing because nobody else there was flexible because BJJ doesn't really require flexibility. I just happen to have the flexibility from Taekwondo. My point being, flexibility is definitely helpful, but not necessary for BJJ. So in that case, it's beneficial because it's in favor of BJJ because the everyday guy can come in, not be super athletic necessarily, and still be able to do it. And which means you don't have to maintain that every day that you're doing, or I'm sorry, you don't have to maintain that for your whole life in order to be able to use this technique or martial art when you're older. So that's in favor of BJJ for sure. What else when it comes to applicable to you? So I like to include the idea of like injuries. Like, do injuries happen during this? Like, is it going to be because you're not flexible, it's easy to get injuries because of it? Is it going to be when I am already injured for whatever reason, can I still use it? So if your leg is injured, you can probably still do jujitsu pretty well because you're on the ground and you're going to use a lot of arms. Now, you do need to use your legs, though, so it definitely has a hindrance on you. But I guess less so than like Taekwondo would probably have because you need to have everything functioning well pretty much before Taekwondo. And will it cause injuries? I think you could pull muscles and hurt joints pretty often in jiu-jitsu. Probably more so than others. Just because it's all joint work, and if you're not flexible, you're putting a lot of pressure on your muscles as well. So I think there has a high risk of injury. Probably more so in jiu-jitsu than a lot of other martial arts. I would have to say, without having any data on that, I would have to say it probably has more injuries. I mean, I've hurt myself minorly just trying to do some rolling, and I know several guys who have hurt their shoulders and knees and ankles and have gotten out of the sport, which is sad. It could just be a bad rolling partner at that day who doesn't know how to use self-control. So use self-control, guys. That's really important. We're not trying to hurt each other. We're trying to help each other grow. So help each other grow. Be gentle to the smallest amount you can, I guess, so that you can get the most effort, the most gain out of the rolling with the least amount of injuries. So practical, it's probably on the upside. You don't need to be very athletic to do it. So I think it's on the upside. And then lastly, efficient. Can it solve the problem quickly? And on this one, I'm going to say not very well. I don't know. Some guy, if you're really proficient at BJJ, you can probably get people submitted super quickly. But if you're like, I don't know, if you're less than a blue belt in BJJ, I think the possibility of you doing it quickly on somebody and efficiently, getting it to work in an uncontrolled environment is probably pretty slim, other than maybe just like a rear naked choke. I mean, if you can get a real naked choke, which is probably the best one in general because you can do it from a lot of locations, but you can do it sitting down, standing up, laying down. I mean, that's the best one, and it stops the fight. So a great one to use. Other than that, I mean, it's a lot of moving around. A lot of things have to come into play. You have to watch if he's going to move this direction, then I'm going to move this direction, which is going to set him up for this, and then I'll do this. And that's why I said it's super brainy, which is incredible if you're a high level at it. But if you're not a high level at it, it's probably going to be kind of hard. Hard to be efficient and get it done quickly. And also, is it going to work consistently? I don't know. I have seen a lot of videos of guys getting it to work randomly. Not randomly. I mean, like, in uncontrolled environments. Lots of videos where they go in and they take them down and they can pin them and the guys can't do anything about it. So I say consistently, it kind of goes into, will it work? Just like I was saying before. Yes and no. It's got to be right in the middle somewhere, I guess. So yeah, I think that's all I got to say on that. Let's go ahead and put the rating system up and see where BJJ comes into play. Compared to Taekwondo. Taekwondo had 8 points out of a total of 15. So looking at BJJ, again, 5 points are available to each category. Practical, applicable, and efficient. A total of 15 points allowed. I'm going to say for practical, practical is pretty low. I'm going to say practical is pretty low because, again, if there's multiple attackers, not good. If you have people you have to defend and there's multiple attackers, even worse. If the ground is not just regular ground, like soft, like a smooth floor. If it's not smooth floor, not great. If it's a tapered floor, not great. If it's sand, concrete, water, really bad. So that being said, I'm going to give it probably a 2. I don't think it's very practical. But when you need it, it's great. But is it practical? Most times, I don't think so. So I'm going to give it a 2. So for practical, we got 2. For applicable, again, that's physical condition. I don't think that you need to be very athletic at all. Cardio doesn't need to be good. Mobility doesn't have to be that great. Flexibility doesn't have to be that good. The better you are at all those, the better you're going to be at the sport, at the martial art, but you don't really need them. The everyday guy can go into the gym, learn it, and use it. So I'm going to say, honestly, it gets a pretty high rating when it comes to that. I don't want to say 5 because I'm not going to say 5. I'm going to say 4, though. It gets pretty high rating. So I'll give BJJ 5 in applicable. And as far as efficient goes, based off the discussion I just had with myself and you guys, I'm put right in the middle. I think it does solve the problem a lot of times. I think you got to know what you're doing pretty well for it to work. But if you know it pretty well, I think it will work pretty often. So I think we'll just put that right dead center in the middle. So what did I do? I did 2 for practical, 4 for applicable, so that's 6 points, plus 3 more for efficient. That puts you at a total of 9 points. It does beat Taekwondo. And these are kind of low points systems because they're isolated martial arts. And when I say isolated, if you go back and watch my video called Complete or Incomplete Martial Arts, you'll hear more about this. But it's really just one aspect of martial arts that it focuses on, which if any martial art focuses on one aspect, it's not going to be rated very high. As soon as you can talk about multiple aspects on a consistent level, on any efficient amount of level, those numbers are going to start skyrocketing. So jiu-jitsu focuses on grappling, Taekwondo focuses on kicking, boxing focuses on punching. All three of those, I mean, they're probably not going to break 10. Taekwondo and BJJ didn't. We'll see what boxing does later. But anything that can do multiple things on a consistent, efficient level, those numbers are going to start going up. So let's keep going. We'll see what other martial arts we got. Let me know what you think. I know you guys are going to get mad at me. I know it. That's how it goes. But I would love to hear what you guys had to say, negative or positive. Let's talk about it. Bring the discussion to light so people can actually understand why we say things are good martial arts and why things are bad martial arts. That way people can actually have a better understanding and make decisions as to where they want to go with their martial art journey on their own. So comment, subscribe if you would, I appreciate it, and leave a comment and like. I appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.